There are 1,000,000 ways to die. We just wanna talk about it. Codeheads.
Hello, all Codeheaders. Welcome back to Codeheads.
Look at that shirt.
I know, look at yours. We're twinning.
Oh, I didn't even know. Did you get that at the Codehead store?
I did. It's Codehead merch.
Yeah, let's link it. Let's link it in the pod notes.
We will. We'll link it in our
Okay.
bios where you can get our Codehead merch.
Oh, and there's stuff on the
and on
back.
the back. Yeah, on the back we're like a walking billboard where you can listen to
Yep.
us and add us and like us and all that good stuff.
Definitely.
So, yeah, and Mike may have gotten his for a birthday present, and mine was just prototyping.
True. True.
But now it's free to all. Well, not free, but free to some. All right. So, welcome back. We digress. We wanted to kind of keep our roll on with the family support and family presence during cardiac arrest. And we had our talk with Dr. Katie Hurley last week. And we previously talked about E.T. and their cardiac arrest, poor little E.T.'s cardiac arrest, which was kind of a nightmare. But keeping the nightmare going, we also wanted to bring those two, meld them together, because one of the things that we left out of the pod was the family presence scene during E.T., because that was absolutely horrifying. And I feel like every family or loved one's nightmare during a cardiac arrest. So we wanted to talk to you guys about it because we love bringing horrifying things to you guys and, and making the best of it. So if you haven't listened to our ET episode, I suggest you do that to kind of refresh your brain, because we really did break down the scene quite well and gave you all the ins and outs of the cinematography going on at that moment. But I think the most important thing is that E.T. goes into cardiac arrest, right? And there's these scientists / physicians that are caring for, well, I guess taking care of E.T. in his arrest like state with Elliot, with his little sister Gertie. The other family members are there too, because at this point we're all really invested in E.T. and we want to get him back home. And he goes into cardiac arrest. So they have this little pop tent set up to make sure that none of his alien heebie-jeebies get out to the world, right? So they're all in their protective gear, and they focus on E.T., right? I guess he's this alien with a strange body shape to them, and so they're focusing on E.T. And they put leads on Elliot, like they were kind of monitoring him and pretending that they cared about him. And then poor Elliot, who loves E.T. so much, and we all love E.T. so much at this point in the movie, they just rip him away. And they put him on this stretcher and throw him in the corner.
Yeah. Get the boy out of here. That's the quote. When E.T. starts to circle the drain, it's like, get that boy out of here. Get the boy out of here. Not even a name, just boy.
Yeah, like he's just throw him to the side. I mean, you wouldn't even say that about your dog.
Do you know what's funny? Because I watched it obviously several times. You have 6 people, I counted them, 6 staff members, if you will, take Elliot's bed after the guy says, get the boy out of here. And they're moving it, rushing to move it. They literally move it about 10 feet and then they disperse like instantly. Boom, they're gone. It's like, what did that accomplish? You gave him an even better view of E.T.'s code. It was so strange.
Yes, it's more disgusting. So they rip him away. He's got some crap. I don't know if they're doing an EEG. He's got something around his head. It's poorly placed if it is an EEG, and then or mimicking it. And then he's got a few leads on, and Elliot's just there, like half naked, like so sad about seeing what's going on with ET. And he's like, "Stop! You're hurting him!" And he's just ripping everything off. So clearly he's not being monitored. They don't care because no one's saying, "Son, boy, you need to be monitored." We need. No one is with him. No one is supporting him. This is the most traumatic, scene. This part is what just gutted me. And I have to be honest with you. In full disclosure, I did make the mistake because I forgot about this scene And I watched it with my children who are highly empathetic, and the sobbing, I mean, the us were a mess. We're all huge empaths. Oh, I had to turn it off, and we could not go back to the TV to watch this for like 2 weeks because we were gutted at this point. And they were like, "No, no!" They were right there with Elliot, and they still talk about it. And it was like months ago. It was so
Yeah.
traumatic.
Hmm.
And poor Elliot is just screaming, crying. No one's helping him. All the things that we talked about with, Dr. Katie last week, not happening. Um, so there was no support of the family member. And he was also, they kind of restrained him. They kept him, he was stuck in that stretcher and, he could not get to ET or where he was supposed to be going. And he was in extreme duress. So that was my
And
biggest cruncher.
right. And as it wasn't so Elliot, they like the film focused on his immediate reaction, but then we have the other family members there.
Yep.
Gertie, in one of the most poignant scenes to me of the film, cinematic magic. So Gertie is right next to him holding this little rag doll, a stuffed animal.
Yep.
And when they defibrillate ET, right?
Mhm.
ET pulses like that. And instantly the camera cuts to Gertie, who also pulses a quick shock because she's in
Yep.
shock from witnessing this trauma, but also
Mhm.
seeing a defibrillation you know, is terrifying if you're not familiar with it. So this
Yep.
what appears to be someone that's in arrest, this dead alien whom they love, is getting
Yeah.
shocked. It's traumatic to witness, and it's like an earthquake aftershock. They shock Elliot, and Gertie jumps, right,
Yep.
and
Yeah.
it's just something to behold if you've never seen it before. In fact, like the world record, but the one I recall from my days, someone almost jolted up almost 45 degrees. So it's like coming up from the dead. And this was a person of size, if you will. So it's the way Gertie saw that in her eyes. I mean, Drew Barrymore should have won Best Actress that year. Meryl Streep got it. But nonetheless, like that reaction from Gertie was visceral.
And if you think about it from like a 7-year-old's eyes, like that's brutal. Like I can't imagine, my children are around that age and I can't imagine them
Yep.
seeing that. Like, especially if it was me or someone else, like if
Yeah.
they had that, like they would like they can't wrap their head around it that
No.
sometimes which we've discussed and we discussed on our last episode with Dr. Katie was that sometimes we're essentially hurting people to help them, and
Correct.
that's hard for people to see and to comprehend and to understand,
Hmm.
especially with their loved one, and especially little kids. That's just not, that's just
Yeah,
not a thing.
especially when there was no facilitator, pastoral care, liaison, communicating with the family like you'll see now. Okay, this is what they're doing now. Now they're going to shock him, defibrillate, so he might pulse. So don't get nervous as part of the procedure. Something like that, where it'll still be difficult to witness, but maybe you won't be
It
as
might,
traumatized afterward, right?
correct.
That's going to
Yeah,
leave
there's
a mark in Gertie's brain. Like Gertie's going to remember
forever,
this when she hits 40. It's going to
forever.
just,
And
what the
I'm
hell?
Yeah, and I'm not married to a and like you said, when someone calls and, 911 and you go to a house and you're running an arrest in a house, you don't have a choice who's there and whatever, like the family's there. You
Yeah.
don't give them an invitation to if they want to witness the arrest, they've already done it. And so they're there. But I do think that there needs to be something with kids that I don't think kids can really wrap their head around it. And if there's someone there to support children and escort them out and, explain
Yes.
things to
Yeah.
them, that's pretty crucial. And I think to this day, that's a really crucial, important thing. If there's a way to support children, um, into not seeing something that they don't need to
Yeah.
see. I think for adults, we've talked about it that it can be, helpful for them. It can help them to start processing. They can understand. They don't have questions. Could they have done anything else? Because they've seen that we're doing literally everything. So it can help with that grieving process for an adult. But for a child, I just
No.
don't think you know, it's just not there. They don't have it in their brains to be able to
No.
process that. And it's going to
What
cause trauma.
definitely. And what almost makes that scene more dramatic when they defibrillate ET is they use the paddles, which makes it
Yes.
just like you're going down to harm them. That's, so everyone knows, seldom utilized anymore. There's specific situations where it's appropriate, but it's not the norm like it was. And I think most people do associate defibrillation with doing this. Like we
Well,
all,
'cause that's
like,
in the movies. In every movie,
it,
they use the pills and they
yeah,
lube them up and they crunch them together and then,
yeah, yeah,
yeah,
it's
we're getting
intense.
the biggest, burliest guy on top of the chest. And really, it's like usually me,
Yeah.
the nurse being like, "Clear, poop," and I pop the button, But
Oh,
the end result's
fun
the same.
fact. I don't know if this is a fun fact or not. I don't know if it's
Oh,
considered one,
wait,
but let's
hold
call it one.
on.
Go ahead.
Incoming fun fact.
Yes. So the fun fact, after watching it like 8 times, this 6-minute segment, I discovered that the cardiac monitor they're using is a LifePak 5.
Oh, yes, I knew that. I
I
knew
did not.
that.
And you should have said something. And then, so it's our fun fact, but just so everyone knows, at where I work, our hospital, we just got LifePak 35s. So
God,
it's interesting to see, the
the
evolution
progression.
from the 5, which looks like a Commodore 64 for all my 80s friends. And then we have this LifePak 35, which is like really slick touchscreen. So we've come a long way since ET.
Yeah, it's got AI in it too. Um,
True. True.
uh, no, I mean it's pretty wild. Like looking at that, it's all antique, really. I mean, I feel like everything that's in
Yeah.
uh, that movie should be in a medical history museum. Um, but along with Gertie and Elliot and all of this is that the mother too. She's actually being physically restrained. Like she's and the brother are not allowed to be able to get into where
No.
her children are, she's watching her other
Yeah.
children being like mentally tortured and traumatized, and they're not even letting her go in to get her kids because of their fake alien precautions. So there are times, throughout medical history that we've done things where when AIDS first came about, right? No one was allowed on AIDS wards. You couldn't go and visit people. They were, isolated with, there's different things throughout history. And leprosy, they were just, carting people off. They weren't allowed to see loved ones because of the risk. And more recently, COVID-19, when it first
Indeed.
came, because we couldn't contain it. We weren't allowing, or we were limiting who could go in and visit loved ones. And, it's difficult. But in a case, I think if we had someone with COVID and there were little kids in there being tortured, we would share our PPE to get a mom in there to get her kids and help protect them.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I think as
Or-
any provider, pre-hospital, in-hospital, we need to think about that. We always need to, I mean, I know we have so much mental load and we're doing so much, but we do need to think about the family members and those that are there and witnessing what we're doing and how to support them.
Yeah. That was a mess. Total mess, that scene. But great example of what not to do.
100%. And I use it in a lot of my ACLS classes to say, this is what you don't do. All right. Well, Codeheads, thanks for listening. Thanks for being a part of this. And thanks for eating it up with us.
Yeah.
Until next time, follow, like, and, reach out.
Subscribe.
There are 1 million ways to die. We just wanna talk about